Okay, I'm coming up.
I know today, no matter what is happening, things will all go my way. I see heaven and I don't have to wait for you to recognize that love resides in this place. Why not listen ahead? Why you making that face? You be tripping so you wouldn't think about something different. Why you making just relax a bit, ain't no accidents, it's just all for the love.
Heaven high, everybody. Welcome. Heaven high, everybody. Heaven high. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. You made my day. I'm excited. I'm so excited to introduce you to Miss Sheila. Hey, Kim Stacy. Hey, I love y'all too. I'm so excited because I was telling Miss Sheila before we started, so many people are like, oh, Tizzy, what is she talking about? Near-death experiences, all that stuff. And what did you say, Miss Sheila? What did you say in the Bible?
Well, it's biblical. Lazarus was raised from the dead. Jairus' daughter was raised from the dead. It's biblical. It's what Jesus does. It's what happens. It's a Christian way of life. You know, it should be just very. It's a phenomenon, but it is common. He does raise people from the dead, and they're not near deaths. They're deaths.
Yes, they are not near deaths. They're deaths. I love it. Well, Miss Sheila, there are so many things that I want to talk to you about, but because we only have an hour, I just want to jump on it. First, y'all, let me tell you, before I even start letting her tell you all this amazing stuff, guess when her birthday is? Guess. I just need one guess when her birthday is. Come on, hurry. I know it's a delayed reaction. Thank you, William. Guess when her birthday is. Y'all taking too long. You're taking too long. Her birthday is December 25th. Isn't that something?
All day long.
I mean, yes, all day long. Okay, please tell. That's me, March, baby. Please tell me. Yes, Kim Stacy. Isn't that something? So let's hear your first testimony, Miss Sheila, or the first one that you're sharing today.
The first one, well, I'm going by what you had asked me you wanted to hear. And the first one was when I was 16. I had facial cancer from the parotid gland all the way over to all over my face. I was not a Christian at that time and didn't know anything about the Lord or anything like that. But I was diagnosed with cancer of the parotid gland. It started to eat my face. So all of my face transfigured, my eyes, I lost sight of my eyes eventually. My nose went crooked, my mouth and my jaw went crooked because the cancer, every time it was eating the nerves of my face, it was making my face distort and twitch to this side. My father was in the Navy. That happened in Portsmouth, Virginia. And they did a whole lot of tests. It started in June of 1974, and by August, my face had totally disfigured. They had done all the tests, and they didn't know what to do to save me because whatever it was a fast-eating type of destroying type of cancer that they had not seen before. So I was finishing up my senior year of high school. They had a high school dance. A boy who was liking me in school wanted to invite me to the dance, and he told his mom.
Even with your face disfigured?
He didn't know about it. Well, see, the thing about it, he didn't know about it because I was in the hospital during that time. But he told his mother that the girl I wanted to invite to the dance, she's in the hospital. I mean, they didn't know what was happening to me. They just knew I was not in school. So, but this is how God works. He told his mother and his aunt, who were both Christians, and they started praying for me. And so because we're in a small community, so when when it got down to the August of that 1974, and they realized that they could not save me, they didn't know what else to do. Their only remedy to my mother was that we will bring her back in, and we will take all the nerves out of both sides of her face. So
Mm.
when you don't have any nerves, your skin from your scalp falls down. And they did that because I was a print model from 13 to 16 in New York with Babazon Modeling Agency. So they knew I was a model. So that was the hope. They were going to be able to, they wanted to fix it so that when I was embalmed, they could fashion my face to have an open casket. That's what's the
Wow.
concept of my mother. Okay. I was the eldest of four, eldest of four of us. And so that was the consolation they gave my mom. So I did not want to die in the hospital, so I came home. When I came home, those ladies who had been praying for me heard that Sheila was back at home and she came home to die. They invited me to a service that their brother was a traveling evangelist from Durham, North Carolina. He was having a service at the YMCA locally downtown. They asked my mom, could they talk to me? My mother said, I don't think she doesn't want to see anybody. A lot of that is kind of hazy because I was on morphine and all these types of pain medications because the pain was horrendous. But I remember them talking to me. They knocked on my bedroom door. They talked to me. They were telling me about this preacher and YMCA, and they wanted to take me for a miracle. That's all I can remember. But after many, many hours, they talked to me. They got me. It had to been God because I was the smell that was coming from my body, every opening of my body had green ooze. And the smell was like rancid. Only people who can deal with me was my family.
Mm.
But these people loved me. They never made me feel bad. I don't remember feeling any of that. They got me down there. They dressed me. They took my hair and put it all on this side because this side had a big hole. This is where it was right here. And this
Oh.
side had a big gaping hole. And they just stuffed it with stuff. And that's what was easing. And so they couldn't do anything. So they took my hair and they put it all on this side. My face was disfigured. And I reasoned to myself, when I go to this place, if people look at me, they don't know I was a print model. They don't know that I've got billboards all over the place in New York. They'll just think I was born that way. So that was my consolation to be among people. They had the service. A lot of things happened. I don't understand people jumping and shouting and falling out and all of that. I didn't understand none of that. When it got down to having a prayer line, it was a long prayer line. The lady stood with me because I was so weak. I had gone from 132 pounds to 82 pounds in a week. I was basically skin and bones. And they held me up on both sides. And the preacher he was singing and put his hands on people. And when he came to me, he just tapped me and I scooted underneath his hands. When I went home, and I'm condensing some things, but when they brought me home, they said, Sheila, God wants us to give you this bottle of olive oil. And it's a little bottle of medicine. It was some type of medicine, and they poured it out, and they put some olive oil in it, and they said they prayed over it. They said, if you hear a voice, and the voice tells you not to take this, don't listen to it. That voice is going to be the devil, and he doesn't love your life, and he doesn't want anything good for your life. Well, to me, the devil was the man with the pitchfork. I was 16. Pitchfork and the red, the devil suit. That's the devil to me. Okay. So, but I was so programmed on taking 6 of this, 12 of these, 1 of these every 4 hours. That was just another prescription for me. So I just said, okay. I went home. By that time, it was like 2 in the morning. My mother had gone off to sleep because she hadn't been sleeping very much. Because if I'm home, she would have not slept. Because they told my mother, that was on a Friday night. They told my mother that if I'm not dead by Sunday, that Monday morning, the military police would be back at my home. They were going to take me and my mother to Bethesda, Maryland. And that's when they were going to take the rest of my facial nerves, and I would have to die there. They told my mother if I died, to put me in the bathtub with the special ice that they had given her, these things of ice. dry ice. Now I know what it was. Packed them and called this number. And that's what it was. Because they wanted to get a specimen of this type of rare carcinoma that was killing this 16-year-old black female. And so they wanted to get a live specimen of it. So I got dressed. I got undressed. My sister, she was, we shared a bedroom. We had twin beds. She was asleep. I undressed and I went in the bathroom. And I remember now, my eyes were, I don't know how to say, my eyes were green when I was born. My daughter has green eyes now, but my eyes were green and gray. But now they were, I mean, I could hardly see out of them. And because my eyes would leak with this green pus, I'd have to take a warm towel and put over my eyes, particularly when I woke up, because it would crust over and close my eyes.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And then I had to peel the scabs off my pupils. So that's what I had to do and put the salve on it so that I could, and I had to do that every day. And so, well, I mean, you're going home to die. It don't make that much difference, basically. But that's what I was doing. And I heard this voice. It was outside of me, basically saying, and I had taken the bottle of olive oil and I put it on the toilet commode, put it on the tank, the toilet tank. And I was doing my eyes, and I heard, and I'm looking, and I can see like a little, like cataracts, but it was like a little hole where I could see just a little bit of what I used to look like. And I'm looking at myself and I'm realizing, I can hardly see myself. I can hardly remember what I looked like. And I heard this voice say, yeah, just look at yourself. Look at yourself. There's nothing like you. Your beauty is gone. Everything about you is just go ahead and die. Just go ahead and die. There's no use for living. There's no use for living. Just give up. Just give up. Just give up. And I'm hearing this conversation, and I'm not replying, but I'm hearing it. And so I took the bottle from the toilet tank, and I took a capful and I poured it in the thing, and I was getting ready to drink it. And I heard that voice again say to me, "Don't take that. Don't take that. Do you know if you take that, you're going to get diarrhea? You're going to get sick. You're going to be throwing up and all that. And you don't want any more discomfort." And I said to myself, you know what? I don't want any more discomfort. I'm tired of throwing up. I'm tired of diarrhea. I don't. And I said, no, I don't want it. And I poured it back in the bottle, put the top on it, and put it back on the commode and walked out the bathroom, turned off the bathroom light. When I got into the hallway, I stopped and I said, wait a minute. Those ladies told me if I hear a voice and the voice tells me not to take it, then that's the devil, that he doesn't love me and he doesn't want anything good for my life. So I immediately, without thinking, turned back around, took it off the tank, put it in there, and took a capful, and I drank it. Put the top back on and went back into my room. And many times people ask me, so what would have happened if you hadn't taken it? I don't know, but this I do know. When God gives you, and that what God gave them was a word of knowledge. It's a gift that God gives people to tell you about people, places, and things, to tell you that God will speak to people to give you a direction that is imperative. Okay? Now, when I went back into my room, somebody at that church had given me a little white Bible. Okay? I don't know who did, but I took the Bible and I sat in the middle of my bed. My sister is asleep. There's a naked white 100-watt bulb over my head. And I'm sitting there in Indian style with my legs folded in the middle of the bed. And I'm realizing this is Saturday morning, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. If I go to sleep, I may not wake up. This is it for me because I came home to die. But things that happened so fast, I never really cried. The pain was beyond tears. You could moan, but you cried. Tears was beyond tears. But I finally realized that I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I don't know what that is, but what's on the other side? What side is that? What happens when you die? But I'm going to die. And I started to ask the question, why me? Why me? I'm good girl. I clean up. I take care of my brothers and sisters. I do my homework. My next door neighbor always have boys sneaking in her room, and I'm just like comparing. Why 16? And it's just like the reality of knowing I was going to die, and whatever that was, it was going to be final. I started crying. When I just started crying, I just started crying, and I started crying, and I started crying. And if you're asleep in the dark and someone cuts on the light, somehow you know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? Do you ever know that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had my eyes closed and I was crying, but it felt like someone had cut on the light. And when I opened my eyes were watery because I just cleaned them. Okay. My eyes were watery and they were glassy. And I'm looking in the room, looked so dingy and dull. Everything looked dark. The light was on, but it looked bland and it's like I don't know how to say it, like a 10-watt bulb, like a 10-watt
Mm-hmm.
bulb. It looked dim, but it was 100-watt bulb over my head. And then when I looked up at my light looked like it wasn't on, but it was on. And then I turned and I saw this white light. And I just thought about that. That's the same light in heaven. That I saw this white light, and the white light was coming out of my wall as if somebody had a flashlight and they were flashing it through my wall. Because I looked at it and I said, "Who is outside flashing?" There was a flashlight flashing this light into my room. When I saw this white beam, it was bright, vivid, straight line white beam. And then I saw it move. When it moved, it was advancing towards me on the bed. And I realized that this thing is moving. So I tried to run off the bed. I couldn't unfold my legs. I tried to scream and touch my sister next to me on the bed next to me. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. Then I watched that light come, and then it all of a sudden just like went, poof, and it flashed all of my face, this white light. And when I was peering my eyes, trying to say, what is happening? What is that? It engulfed me. It had it had presence. It had feeling. It had feeling. That's how I could describe it as. And then when I could not see what this light was coming from or anything through this light, I closed my eyes. And when I closed my eyes, I I I heard a voice because I was petrified. And I heard a voice that filled that room. And the voice said, "Don't be afraid."
Mm.
It filled the room. And when that voice said, "Don't be afraid," it's like somebody had opened up my toes and
Mm.
all the fear drained out of me like water.
Mm.
And I felt like I was floating. And then I had on a nylon nightgown. I felt somebody's hand touch my chest and touch my nightgown through my nightgown and push me back on my bed. When the hand pushed me back on my bed, my legs went open and went straight. It pushed me all the way back on my bed and my head hit the pillow. Then I felt a hand take a thumb right here and 4 fingers like this. And the fingers turned my head like this on the pillow. And I could not see, but I felt the heat. It's like somebody had a heat lamp right there on my neck. I could
Mm.
feel the heat sensation, the burning sensation, but it was no pain. Don't know how long that was, if it was seconds, minutes. It was just nothing but that light and that presence and that heat. And when I started to feel that heat sensation start to dissipate, leave a little bit, I was able to turn my head, open my eyes, and I saw that light. It was a beam. It was a light, white light, and I saw it come like this. And I'm watching it as if somebody's drawing a sword out of the wall. That's how straight it was. It was at an angle. And I watched it go, and it kept going and kept going and kept going till it went out of the corner, far corner of the wall. When it went out of the far corner of the wall, I still felt the presence. And I heard somebody talking. I'm still in this presence. I can't describe it. And I heard somebody talking like far, far away, but it was talking. And they were saying, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus." And then when I'm coming to myself, my hands are up in the air and my
Mm.
mouth is saying, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus." I could not stop my words coming out. I could not stop my mouth coming, the words coming out of my mouth. I could not take my hands down. I
Wow.
don't know, did not know what a Jesus was. I heard about God. I never, in the Baptist church, when we went once a week, once a year on Easter, and we'd win it just to eat candy, I didn't know what a Jesus was. And my mom was saying, "What is a Jesus? What is happening?" But it was like my body knew its creator, but I had no idea. My spirit
Wow.
and my body knew its creator, but
Wow.
my soul
You
didn't
didn't
know it.
know.
I had no recollection. I had
Mm.
no recollection. I had no recollection. You know, when
Wow.
people when it is so, I mean, even the most heathen, I travel the world, even the most heathens, there is a God-shaped part of every living creature,
Mhm.
human,
Mhm.
that knows its creator and maker, no matter how many gods they serve, no matter what they do to themselves or others. When
Mm.
they meet that presence, they
They know.
they know. Muslims are having visions now of Jesus. They know. Hindus are
Wow.
having visions now of Jesus. Communists are having, they know. The one whom they crucified, the one who they denied, they know now. My body knew, but I didn't. Finally, my hands went down like I was a puppet. It's like a puppet. My hands went down, and I realized I could move. I ran off the bed, ran through the living room to my mother's bedroom, and I was
Oh,
getting ready to wake her up to tell her what had happened. But I stopped because they told my mom when it starts to get to the end, she will start to have hallucinations. So I thought this was what that was. And I knew my mother had been through so much as a single
couldn't
parent
handle it.
that she would sit there and watch me die. I prefer to have her find me dead in the bed. That was what I did. And so Saturday came, Saturday morning, Saturday, Sunday. I don't remember any of that. I don't remember what happened. All I know is Monday morning, I wasn't dead. I was weak, but I wasn't dead. The MPs, the military police, came and got my mother and I. They took us to Norfolk Naval Base, Norfolk, Virginia Naval Base, and then we got on a medevac plane. And it's a medevac plane that has operating rooms and all of that, and they can fuel it in the air. And so I was supposed to have gotten there 2 days. I didn't even get there until that Thursday. Actually, I was in the air all that time. We stopped, pick up more patients, and they did operation rooms and whatever like that. But they didn't get me back to Bethesda. They didn't get me to Bethesda until Thursday. When they got me to the tarmac in Bethesda Naval Hospital, they were just taking my clothes off on the gurney because they figured I was going to die any moment. I mean, how was she living? We don't know, but we need this live specimen. They prepped me for surgery, went into the operating theater. Over my head was um, clouds of people, um, medical students who wanted to see this black 16-year-old carcinoma with this rare carcinoma that is flesh eating and all these terms that I used to remember and don't now. I had people from Red China, all over the world that wanted to see what the specimen looked like in a
Mm.
test tube. So my two doctors, one doctor now and Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson was a white American naval doctor, and Dr. Now was one from Red China. And they put me on the table. They put vice grips on my head. They had me on my side. They couldn't put me to sleep because I wouldn't have made it through the anesthesia. I was too weak. They got this long needle
So
and they
they
stuck
had
it from
planned
one
on.
end of my head to the other. But I didn't feel that because, I mean, I was already dead here. I didn't feel any of that. They just wanted to numb. They just wanted to numb this area so that it wouldn't bleed out. That's what they did. And so they started, and they had microphones. So, yeah, but so many things about it that was different because I didn't realize that I could see better. I wasn't even conscious of that. I wasn't conscious that I hadn't treated my eyes for those 2 days I was home. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
conscious that I hadn't taken my morphine drip. I wasn't conscious. It was I hadn't had
Yeah.
any pain, no
Yeah.
pain, but I
Wow.
wasn't conscious. When you meet the supernatural in your natural and you have nothing to relate it to, it just sits there by itself
Yeah.
until something connects it to. I had nothing to connect it to, no spirituality at all.
Mm.
And so they started to do the surgery. And you know how if your hand goes to sleep and if you scratch it, you can feel it,
Yes.
that numbness. But you,
Yes.
yeah, that's how it felt when they were doing. So I could feel when they were cutting. They cut down to the first layer of the skin and they open it and they flap it open. And then they cut down to the second layer of the skin and then they're talking and then I'm looking up at them and they're saying, okay, so now we're down to the second layer of the skin. Now we're going to go down to the third layer of the skin. We should be able to see all the nerve endings that have been eating my cancer, my primary cancer before it got worse looks like slimy water with black pepper in it moving by itself. That's how it looked under the microscreen. Mine had progressed so much that it had flesh and other stuff in it now. So he was talking, and then I could tell they went deep down because I could feel it, but I was no pain. And he flapped it open, and then Dr. Johnson was right here. Dr. Now was right here. Dr. Now was short. Dr. Johnson is tall. Dr. Johnson said, we're going down to the third level of the skin. And then he says, do you see that? And then Dr. Now says, what is that? And then Dr. Johnson said, do you see that? And then Dr. Now says, what is that? So my eyes are going for like this and this, okay? And like, what are they seeing? And then Dr. Johnson said, he took the mic, the little thing on the mic, he pulled it on the side. He says, do you see this? And Dr. Now was saying, but what is this? So I'm like, what?
What is?
And I can't talk, um, no, I'm just listening to them. I could just hear them. And he took the mic away. And then next thing I know, they're putting a mask over me. You said they told me that they could not put me under because I would not survive. So I figured it was euthanasia. One of my last school projects was euthanasia. People who humanely try to kill people, put people out of their misery who are suffering. And it's called
Oh,
euthanasia.
they
I
were
thought
killing.
they were doing to me. I thought they were humanely putting me out of my misery like a horse. That's how I felt. That's what I thought. When I came to again, it was Friday, midday. All right. And this is now Friday from the time they took me to that prayer thing. This is Friday, now 5 days, 7 days later. When I come to, I guess you can imagine, my first thing I asked for was a mirror. The nurse brought me a little mirror. And when I saw my face still disfigured, now I've got marks where we're going to be cutting and black marks and diagrams that they didn't even finish the operation. And my face was marked up and it was still disfigured. I just put it on my chest like this and I said, man, I'm just going to die. It was just like, kill me now. That's kind of where it was. Just kill me now. And so they come in eventually. They come in. My mother comes in. And my mother, she had been through so much. I mean, she had red circles on her eyes so much. And they came in and they had the metal charts at the time. Those steel metal charts. I
Yes.
remember that.
Yes.
So they opened
Yes.
it up. They're saying, Miss Martin, I said, you didn't do the surgery. And they said, well, Miss Martin, we went in to do the surgery to take your nerves out, like we said, so that we could give the embalmers a place to fasten your body so that you can have an open casket. Did anything happen to you over the weekend? I'm like, what? No. I mean, why couldn't you have the surgery? They said, well, we went in to do that, and when we went in, we just saw some strange abnormalities. And they're like, did anything happen to you over the weekend? I'm like,
Yes,
what?
I went to this Bible study and these people prayed for me and they gave me this oil to
No,
drink.
no,
You said no.
no. You don't say that. No. Because no, I had nothing to relate that to. No. And why is the doctor asking me, did anything happen over the weekend? Okay. And I'm asking him why you didn't operate. Okay. But he's going on something else. And then he finally says, listen, Miss Martin, we don't know what happened, but every nerve that had disfigured your face is now back. There's no holes in your nerves. And the cancer, the carcinoma is totally gone, as if it was nothing there. There's no flesh that has been damaged. There should be gouges in my neck. They said there's nothing there. They said, so we can't explain it. So what we're going to do is run some more tests, and we're going to keep you here. So they kept me there another week running tests, I guess waiting for it to come back.
Yes.
I'm clueless, don't know what's happening. When I finally get back home, here come the two ladies. The two ladies that took me to the YMCA. They heard I came back home. Sheila's not dead. My whole neighborhood had a little party for me, and tape and welcome home Sheila and this and that. I was still, my face was still crooked. I could see better, but I was still emaciated, skin and bones. Went home. They came, and they were happy to see me. They didn't mention anything about a miracle. They didn't mention anything about God. They just hugged me and said, we'd like to invite you to church. Well, that was September. September, I said no every Sunday. Every Saturday called. October, I said no. November, between my mother and I had run out of lies to tell these ladies who were calling every Saturday that I didn't want to go to church. We even got to the point that we told my mother, one of the lies we told was, no, I've got a modeling gig, and I'm going to be out of town. My face was totally disfigured. How am I having a modeling gig? But these women, don't ask me how. They called every Saturday between 6 and 8 p.m. We had the phone on the wall in the kitchen. At the last Saturday in November 1974, I knew it was if I picked it up. What time? Okay, thank you. Because I figured if I don't go, they're not going to give me any rest.
Yes.
I went with them. The church is a wooden box. If you open the front door, the back door vibrates. That's how small that church was.
Yes.
In the projects.
Yes.
They went there early because they were prayer warriors, and they started praying, and they said, you got to kneel down on this bench. They called it the altar. And they said, you can pray, and we're going to pray for the service before the service starts. So they started praying. The more they were praying, the more irritated I was getting. And then I just said, listen, I don't want to do nothing with this God or nothing like this. When they get finished, I'm out of here. I heard that voice that told me not to be afraid, come out of the wall. And I heard that voice, and that voice said, now, when everybody gets up from here, I want you to stay down here. And I turned to the wall and I said, I'm a new girl here. You can't expect me to stay down here when they get up. When they get up, I'm out of here. Long story short, I could not get off my knees. The preacher was getting me to preach. They pointed to me still on the altar in the corner. He came and he got me. He pulled me up. He asked me, did he want me to pray for him? And I said, don't nobody touch me. Because at this point, I'm dying. I'm not dying. Something's happening. The walls talking to me, voices talking to me, lights and everything. It was just too much for me. It was just too much for me. Okay.
I'm dying. So, I'm not dying. Lights talking to me. Yes.
And the wall, someone coming, and that same voice is talking to me now through the wall. Oh no.
Yes.
No. So I told so the man was getting me to pray for me, and I said, don't touch me. I will knock you out. Would I use other vernacular words? Da 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 da. And so the ladies were saying, Miss Sheila, don't calm down. I said, don't nobody touch me. Don't nobody touch me. I'm backing up. I'm trying to get out the door. and I felt somebody's fist take me and hit me on this same side of the jaw. And they said I went out of my shoes, up in the air. It was December 1st, 1974. It was a pot-belly stove in that church, the one with that church. I hit the floor by that stove. I was speaking in tongues. That's how I met God.
Wow.
I went home that same night, and that's when God said to me, Sheila, I was the one who healed you. I was the one who filled you. Go and tell people what I've done for you. So December 1st of this year made 51 years following that
I
command.
got chills, Miss Sheila. Wow.
And that's when, then I knew it was God. Then I knew it was a miracle. Then I knew it was healing. Then I knew that light was the angel. Then I knew that everything I did not know for those months, I knew instantly.
And it made sense. And did you tell your mother what happened? Did you run and tell your mother then?
Nope. You know how my mother knew about it?
How?
I was when God told me to go tell people what I've done for you, I started to be able to have visions. I could see through bodies. I could see people getting sick. I could see through walls. My eyes became this color. They were green. They became this color. And then I can see.
Wow.
Okay. My face eventually turned up. I've never had plastic surgery. My face eventually turned back
Wow.
like this. Okay.
Wow.
And sometimes people don't believe my story, but the scar, they said if you didn't have the scar, we wouldn't believe you. And the church people would tell me, God didn't hear you because if God did that, God would have moved the scar because God don't do anything half done.
I'm
Now
glad he
I
left
know.
the scar so
Now,
that we'll know. But
that's
y'all,
why.
wait a minute. This isn't even the death experience that this is the first, this isn't even the
Okay. So getting to that. Okay. I started telling everybody everything. My mother heard about my testimony on 700 Club, which is a CBN, at the studio. When I told the whole world, that's when my mother heard about it.
wow.
And that was a month later. So fast forward, I go and I moved to Durham, North Carolina. I started training on the ministry of the preacher the traveling preacher. I stayed with their family. I was ordained at 18. At 19, I had an opportunity to go overseas. When I went overseas, I started going overseas, and I ended up staying overseas.
Wait a minute. Pause for a second. I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about because I'm excited about your story. While you're talking, I'm like, should I just ask questions and have you come back for the second part? But I want to get to it. But when you became ordained, were you in that same little box church?
No, that little box church put me out. They tried to poison me because they said I was a witch because they tried to poison me. They tried to poison me. Because the lady who was the mother of the church was a voodoo. She was in voodoo. And I didn't know. 2 days after I got saved on the Sunday, Monday, I'm sitting in my bed and the whole wall disappears. And I'm seeing her doing these charms and all this sort of stuff. I see her doing that the whole week. So the following Sunday, December 7th, we go to church, and you sit up in the front because I'm a new saved person. So all the new people saved. And they say, do you have a testimony? And I don't know what that is. And then she says, well, Sister Martin, what did God show you? Oh, what did God show me? He showed me you with the skull and you drunk the blood and then you cook the chicken and you turn the chicken's head this way. And then you put it on the pastor right there. And then you put him in the bathtub and you put these herbs on him.
Oh, yeah, they put you out. They put you out. They put you out because that's not what you were supposed to be saying.
She asked me, what did I see?
Wow. And that's what you saw.
So come to find out, she was a voodoo, and she had the church tied up and all this. So after they tried to poison me, that was kind of it. And so no, the church that I went to was the preachers, the two sisters' brother, who came to the YMCA.
Traveling.
I went there to Durham, North Carolina, and I moved to Durham, North Carolina on a Greyhound bus. My mother let me go. And I moved there, And he was a traveling preacher, so we traveled all over North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and that sort of thing. And that's how I just learned ministry, learned more about God, and all of that sort of stuff. And that's how that started with me.
Okay, so now tell us about the other near-death experience. Tell us, not the
Okay.
near-death. Tell us about when you died. Oh, we're not gonna be able to do it in 20 minutes, Miss Sheila. You're gonna have to come back, y'all, because okay, go ahead. Tell us about when you died.
All right. I was 19, already missionary, so I was overseas. I was working in Trinidad and Tobago and establishing churches and things of that nature. So I came home to visit my mom, and there were people who had been supporting me while I was away. So I visited my mom, and then I caught the bus and I went to visit a family who were visiting me, and they lived in a place called Chesapeake. And when I was walking off the bus, walking to their neighborhood, um, I felt like I coughed up some phlegm, and I coughed up some phlegm, and then I spit it out. And I said, I must be catching a cold or something. And that's what I thought. So I walked to them, and I walked to their house, and this is what they told me because I don't remember. They said that when they heard me knock on the door, I knocked on the door. When they opened the door, I was already falling. And when they opened the door, they saw me fall, and I fell flat face first in their foyer.
Mm.
They dragged me, her and her husband dragged me from the foyer into the kitchen, which is right next door. And they turned me on my back. They didn't know what to do, so they called 911. Um, by the time they had gotten 911 there, they had called my mom. My mom was on her way, so this was a whole lot of confusion. They didn't know what to do. I don't remember any of that. What I remember was walking to their door, knocking on the door, and nothing. I don't remember anything. And then the next thing I remember is looking up, and I'm on the kitchen floor, and I hear them talking, and I hear I can hear the paramedics and the firemen were in there, and they're asking my friend, is she on any drugs? And they said, no, she's not on any drugs. She's a Christian. She's a preacher. She's a missionary. Well, does she have any type of illness? I said, we don't really know. I mean, and so they were asking a question, well, is her mother coming? Well, yeah, she's on her way. She's going to be here soon. She had to get off work and so I can hear them saying all of that. And then one of the guys, I'm laying on the floor, so I'm not moving, but I can hear everything. I'm aware. My eyes are open and I'm aware. So when people are in a comatose state, don't think that they're not aware. They're aware that's around them.
That's major. When people are in a comatose state, don't think they don't hear because
they hear everything. They can't speak to you, but they hear everything, and they can see a whole lot more. They can see peripheral. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's just the nature of that place that you go when you're in that place. So the paramedic must have saw my eyes open, and he got down on his knees, and he's on this side of me, and he says, what's her name? And they said, her name is Sheila. He said, Sheila, and I'm saying, yes. He's saying, can you hear me? And I'm saying, yes, I can hear you. He's saying, Sheila, and I'm like, can't you hear me? You're right in my face. Yes. And he's saying she's not responding. And I'm like, before I can say, yes, I am. I'm looking right at you. What I felt was I felt the floor open up, and I fell through the floor. Now my body is there, but my spirit fell through the floor. I went, and when I went like that, I started falling. And the next thing I realized, I'm in this tunnel. In this tunnel, I'm swirling. So this is my head, this is my feet. So I'm swirling like this around the tunnel. Then I'm going down, and I see fire. And I'm swirling back up, and I'm seeing light. So I'm swirling. And around the edges, around the inside of it, it looked like it had mass. If I put my hand in it, it would probably come all the way up to my shoulders. It had some type of mass, some type of stuff on the wall that was deep. I could see it as I'm going around the walls. And then I'm still I can't describe it, but I'm falling, but I'm twirling at the same time. And I'm going down, and I see fire, and I twirl back up, and I see light. But as I'm twirling, it's like something is sucking me up, and I'm going up, twirling, down, up, twirling, down, up. And that's how it was like I was being sucked out.
Wow.
And um, when I was going through that, they had already, they said that I had coded and my heart had stopped. And so they defibrillated me in the kitchen, and my mother got there by that time, and they got a faint heartbeat. Then they put me into the ambulance. They defibrillated me again, and they got another faint heartbeat. This is the second defibrillation. And so the last defibrillation, they said that when they defibrillated me, my hand shot up in the air in the ambulance. And as my hand shot up in the air, they thought I was reaching for oxygen. Well, I had my experience. They had their visual experience. I had my spiritual experience. But my hands were reached up because when I came out of that tunnel, I came out of that tunnel in a blaze of light. And on the, and when I came out, it's like I came out with it went and it sucked me up out of the tunnel. And my hands were up, came up automatically out of the air because of the force of the what sucked me up.
Mm-hmm.
And my body turned this way. And when I looked that way on this cloud, I was underneath this huge cloud. I could see a man's feet dangling on the cloud. His feet were dangling. I could see the bottom of his feet. They were leather feet, leather sandals wrapped around his ankle. He had on a linen, a white, well, not white, but like a cream beige linen tunic. And he had a brown, tan, beaded sash. I could see that, but I could not see him, but I could see his legs and his tunic and the sash. He was sitting on the cloud. My hands were going up in that way, and whatever force was pulling me up towards him. When I got up to close to where he was, when I saw him, that's when I saw his face. When I saw his face, it was Jesus. And he looked at me. And when he looked at me, he didn't have any expression on his face per se. But his eyes spoke volumes. You know, people ask, well, what color was his eyes? You know, kind of brownish, but you don't see the color, you see the depth. It's like he knew everything about you to know he knew. There was acceptance, there was love, there was depth of recognition, there was depth of feeling, depth of affection, all of that. So you don't, it's like when you're in love with someone, you know, when you look into their eyes, you don't see the color of their skin, the color of their hair. You're in that moment with them, and it is like an intimate thing. Yes. That's what it was when I saw him.
Yes.
And he had his hand drawn to me. And so I knew, I was conscious that I was born again. I was conscious that I was a missionary. I was conscious that I had been winning souls for him. I was conscious that I was telling my testimony everywhere I went. I was conscious of all the things that he had told me to do. Mm-hmm. And so when I got up to reach his hand, and I was just this close to reaching his hand, and my hand was reaching this way, whatever was getting me to get up there, whatever force started to dissipate. So I felt that I needed to do all that I can. This was my last thing to do, was use my strength to get to his hand. Once I got to his hand, I was good. When I got to his hand, he withdrew his hand like this. He withdrew his hand like this. And when he withdrew his hand like this, now this is a part, because my going to heaven happened after the morgue.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know. Okay. Yeah. After the morgue. Okay.
Right. So when I got there, when I got to his hand, and he lifted his hand up like this. And I heard myself saying, why? And I'm falling back down. I'm falling. While I'm doing that, I'm in the ambulance. They had already done their last defibrillation, and they could not bring my heart back. My mother's in the ambulance, and my hands are up in the air like this. And so they said that if they find somebody dead on the highway, if rigor mortis sets in, they can break your bones and put you in the body bag. If someone dies, they have pressure points so they can make sure people die in different contortions.
Yes.
And but they could not, with all the pressure points, they could not put my hands down. So they got me to the emergency room. I died, I coded, and they could not bring me back. So they went around the back to the morgue. I didn't know this. And so when they got me out of the ambulance, they could not put my hands down. So they put a sheet from my shoulder over my head and from another sheet from my armpit to my feet. That's
Okay.
how I went into the morgue. How I
Okay.
got into the drawer, I don't know. I don't
Right.
know. Somehow my hands went down because I was in the drawer
When you woke
closed for 5.5 hours.
up. Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now it was doing when it was doing that time when I'm saying why I'm having two different type of experiences. One type of experiences I feel myself falling, like I'm coming back to something, but then another part of me was seeing heaven, seeing um, I don't know how to describe it, like a a kaleidoscope.
Yes.
Okay, and if you turn it, it has different colors and different scenes or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. If you saw it on the wall, it would have different scenes. I was seeing heaven in a kaleidoscope. I was seeing different parts of heaven.
Mm.
The trees, the grass, the flowers, the water, the floating mountains, the all of that. And you see it, you know it, and you're there. Because when you're not in this body, our body limits us to the dimension that there are. Okay. There are dimensions. Our body limits us. We can only be in one dimension. Our spirit can be in all dimensions at the same time and
Um,
fully conscious and aware of every dimension that you're seeing, having
yeah.
cognitive understanding of every dimension that you're seeing, though it's all happening simultaneously.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was my first glimpse of heaven. So when I when I when God told me that Jesus told me when I asked him why, and he said when I was in heaven, when I went there, he said to me, I can't spare you. And I asked him why. And he said, because I need somebody to go and tell the truth. And I said, I says, I'm 19. I said, you got older people to do that. Reverend Danny, the man who I was tutored under, he can tell people the truth. He said, Sheila, this was your time. This
Wow.
was your time, but I can't spare you. I can't
Wow.
spare you. And so the
Wow.
kaleidoscope stopped. He came to me. He told me that as I'm having this feeling of falling, and I heard him say that to me. And then the next thing when he said, I can't spare you, and I'm still hearing myself saying, why? Why? I'm still saying that as he's talking to me. And then the next thing I know, I take this breath, I breathe in once, and I smelled something familiar. They were hospital sheets. I knew hospital sheets. I didn't know
Mm.
I was in a hospital, but I knew the familiar smell.
Yes. Yes.
And I opened my eyelids, and something was over my eyelids. And so
The
I
sheet.
remember being, huh?
That other sheet that they put on the top, maybe.
No, mm-mm.
Oh.
No. They did that to take me out of the ambulance and put me in the morgue. When I went into the morgue, somehow they did something because my hands were down because I was in the drawer.
Okay.
I was in the
Okay.
gym for 5.5 hours. This is 5.5 hours. What I did not know is my mother and the paramedics were still at the hospital 5.5 hours trying to write a death certificate that made sense. How did
Mm,
this girl have a? I had a massive heart attack. They said my heart broke in two, split
mm,
in two.
mm,
Okay. People who have that type of heart attack, they said they normally found clenching their chest. My hands are raised up. Okay.
mm, mm,
They couldn't put my hands down. Okay. I had no type of disease like that in my family or all like that. They're trying to reconcile what they're seeing to
mhm,
make sense. So they're still there. Okay.
mhm,
A forensic coroner was there. He was getting off shift and he said, I'll go back and do an autopsy. Let me just do a brief autopsy to give you a cause of death. They had filled out everything and without the cause of death. And so that's why they pulled me out of the drawer and put me on the table. Okay.
Oh,
God sent me back right before he was getting ready to cut me open.
oh,
That's what I'm saying.
wow. Wow.
That's why I was on the table. That's why I was out the door. And I'm glad I was out of the drawer.
I'm glad you were
So
out the
when
drawer.
I opened my eyes and I felt something over my eyes, yeah, I mean God's timing is perfect, but maybe not
Wait
so
a
perfect
minute.
for everybody.
Wait a minute. Okay,
Because
y'all. Look here. Whew.
when I opened my eyes and I felt something over my head, I felt my
You felt what? Say it again. It blinked out.
what?
It blinked out. You said you
Oh,
felt
oh,
you
oh, oh. I said that so okay, I felt that something over my face. Okay, because listen, if you got a sheet over your face, okay, when I came to, I breathed and I opened my eyes and there was something over my face. My body, I remember being immediate feeling totally frozen, cold. I could
mm,
not move anything on my body but just my upper forearms. And I took and I did like this, trying to find the edge of whatever was over my head. When I felt the edge, I grabbed it and I pulled it down. When I pulled it down, I'm looking around trying to focus my eyes, and I'm in this room with all of these freezer doors. Okay. Okay. And then I pulled the sheet down a little bit more and I realized I'm totally naked. Okay. Now, I had forgotten, I knew I had clothes on because I was walking to my friend's house. Okay. All this, whatever happened here, I have no recollection because I was having a spiritual experience.
right.
So I didn't have on any clothes. So I was on a metal table. I'm totally free, frozen, and I'm naked. And so when I kept looking further down the room at the end was a man. He had a bald head and a white man, and he had a bottle. He was pulling something out of the bottle with a needle, and he was in front of a mirror, and he had a white little table. When I saw him, I realized, okay, I don't have on any clothes. I'm a Christian. Uh, this is not right. I was dealing with modesty. I was just, it was about modesty for me. Okay. And so I asked him, I said, excuse me, sir, where are my clothes? And so he had the bottle and he had the syringe and he was pulling it because you could see he could pull it out. When I said, excuse me, sir, where are my clothes? The top of his head turned red. He was bald. And then he dropped the vial, whatever it was, and it splattered, all the liquid splattered and on the table. And then he dropped the needle. But I'm behind. So if you see like this is me. This is my head. He's this way. He's this way. Okay. I know he
Like,
sees me.
oh, he does. Oh, like this. Like you're here. And
Okay,
I'm
so like okay, this is my head.
yes.
This is the table. This is my
Yes.
feet.
Yes.
Okay. He's over here in the corner.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. So I see him. I see him. I can't stand up. I can't sit up because I'm frozen.
Yeah.
So I asked him where my clothes are. So he's like this, and I'm this way. He never looks my way. He hears me because his head turned red. He
Yeah.
dropped the bottle and the syringe. Then he does this number. He moves close to the table, and then he turns his back to the wall. Now he's got to come. He's coming. I'm this way. I'm this way. Okay. And I said, "Excuse me, where are my clothes?" Now I know he hears me. So I'm thinking maybe I have been sexually assaulted, kidnapped, and sexually assaulted. And he's coming either going to kill me or he's coming back for some more. And my thing is, okay, you may have gotten something free, but you're not going to get it free this time. That's how my thinking was. Okay. You know what I mean? Listen, I ain't going out with a fight. This black girl ain't going out with a fight. We just don't do that. I'm sorry. I don't care. We don't do that. We ain't doing that. Okay. And so he's easing up the wall towards me. But I did not know that behind my head was the door.
Oh.
So he's got to come from the farthest part of the room to pass me to get out the door.
Yes.
So he's coming up the hall, coming up the wall, and he's hugging that wall, coming up the wall. But he looking this way, and the door is this way. So I figure, okay, we're gonna have to fight. Now, I can't move anything on my body. Oh, only this. So I sling myself off that metal table. Okay, and my arms hits a hole in the sheet. Okay, so he's got to come past me. I'm gonna be doing like this. This is how I'm gonna be fighting. This is what I'm gonna protect myself. This is where I was, because he's coming towards me. You're looking the other way, but you're coming towards me, and you hear me talking to you.
Right, okay. Right. You're right. You're
so
right.
He kept coming, and I didn't say nothing else. I just waited for him because he's coming, and he got right in front of me. And then he turned. He looked at me. He looked like I didn't open the door, but he looked at the door. He looked at me again, and then the next thing you know, he went, phew, and that door went, that door went going fast like this, wow. And then I said, "Oh my God, a door. So I slung on the floor, and I took my elbows, and I'm scrolling on that cold floor to the door. I'm hearing people screaming in the back, whatever background, and all this noise and whatever like that. When I get halfway up to the door, close to the door, people peeking through the door.
And
people peeking through the door. So I'm thinking I'm still on the kidnapping thing. Okay, though this is a gang of people. I don't realize I'm in a hospital. Okay, I think I'm a million, but this is, I don't know what these drawers are. What kind of drawers are these? I did not know. But he went out there and told them what had happened, whatever like that. They said he was incoherent. They came and they saw me. So make a long story short, they came in, they attacked me. I call it attacking, because they just dived on me. They all came in with a straight jacket, with a needle, with some other stuff. And I just bit some, I scratched, and then somebody shot me with a needle in my back. When I came to again, I came to with my heart monitor going beep, beep,
wow,
beep. I wake up and that's my mother. She's been crying. The paramedics were still there. So I started to tell them how I saw Jesus, how I saw different parts of heaven. I started to tell them I was reaching for Jesus' hand. That's why. So everything I was telling, they could see me. They could see it on the outside. So those two paramedics got saved. They gave their heart to the Lord. The forensic medicine. Here's this: the forensic guy, the coroner. He left the county. That was Portsmouth, Virginia. He left the county and moved somewhere, Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
5 years later, I was on TBN giving my story.
Mm-hmm.
He just happened to be watching it. He didn't believe in God.
Wow.
My situation, he could not reconcile, but he could not be in the county anymore where I was. He left the whole county and went
Wow.
somewhere else. 5 years later, this man
Wow.
sees me on TV. He calls in and says, I'm the paramedic, and he was the paramedic. I am the coroner who did this, and I'm giving my heart to the Lord. He gave his heart to the Lord 5 years later.
Wow. Wow. God has used you through all of this.
But,
Wow.
but just to say this, the other heaven experiences after that, that's when God took me to heaven, and that's when I saw all the things. I was there. He would take me. That's how I got to heaven, and that's how I was able to walk around heaven and see all the things that he showed me. The warehouse with the body parts, the garment room, the throne room, the floating mountains, the waterfalls, the grass that bends when you, the kids, where kids go, where babies go when they're aborted, and what they do and how they grow. And those are the things that I was able to do because he said it was my time, but he brought me back, but he did not deny me those years of experiences.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you're going to have to come back. March Baby just said that we need a part two because at least tell about the two rooms that I love so much. The
Okay.
clothes.
So
Yeah.
one of them is called this. It's a long, long hall, and there are rooms on either side. And Jesus was walking with me, and we were talking about different things. And he said, he was on my left, and I'm on the right. And we're walking down the hall, and he says, I want to show you something. And he said, come with me. And I'm walking with him. And he says, open this door. The door was to my right. And I opened the door. When I opened the door, on the floor are beautiful robes. Now, these robes are sort of like the Henry VIII robes. They're heavy. You know, the Henry
Mhm.
VIII robes back in the day, Queen
Yes.
Victoria robes. They're not like these choir robes or these preacher robes. These robes were heavy, like
Yes.
drape robes. They were
Yes.
and they were on the floor. They were emeralds, and they had emeralds and jewels and diamonds and gold
Mm.
tapestries. Each one of them were beautiful in itself, but they were on the floor. They weren't hung up, and they had covered the floor. And I said, "My gosh, Lord!" I said, "Lord, what is this? Why are the robes on the floor?" And he said, "This is my garment room." I said, "Your
Mm.
garment room?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I want you to tell my people about this room." And I said, "Okay." He said, "I don't understand why my people want to have the spirit of heaviness."
Mm.
He said, "Didn't I not say that I would give them, I would give them a garment of praise
Mm.
for the spirit of heaviness?" He
Mm.
said, "These have been for my people, but they refuse to take these, but they wear the garment of heaviness, not
Mm.
my garment of praise." And so they're
Mm.
on the floor because I provided it for them, but they won't access it. He said,
Mm.
"Tell them about the room." He said, "Tell them all they got to do is just imagine putting on a garment of praise, a garment of peace, a garment of ease, a garment of tranquility for the
Mm.
spirit of heaviness. Why hold the spirit of heaviness when I have such garments for my people?"
Mm.
He said, "Go and tell them about this room."
Mm.
And
Mm.
so,
Mm.
and it's true, sometimes people refuse comfort. It doesn't make sense, but to refuse comfort, you're not dealing with sin, you're dealing with a broken soul. You're dealing with a heart that's broken that refuses the comfort. You will wonder why. Why people refuse comfort? Because some people don't know any better. They don't know anything else. They think
Mm.
that's their lot. They
Right.
think they deserve this, or they think God is punishing them in this, or something that the enemy has lied to them, or they
Mm.
believe the lie from someone. You're not worthy of love. You're not worthy to feel better. Yeah, feel condemned, feel dirty, feel shame.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, you'll never be anything. You'll never amount to anything. You'll never have anything, never do anything, never go anywhere. That people feel that way because they've been taught that way. They've been told that way. The same way
Yes.
I didn't know what it, I thought Jesus was. I thought Jesus was a what? I didn't know it was a he.
Yes.
We don't know what we don't know. But sometimes
Yeah.
what we don't know is it is the thing that it is what but the Bible says God's people perish for lack of knowledge.
Yes.
Is what we
I
don't know that destroys us.
I get
You
that.
see?
If you don't know how to if I don't know how to use this, I can't call nobody.
You
And
can't.
that's just
Even though
a cell
you could
phone, you know.
that's
So
it. That's it.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I got
The
my personal
garment
secretary. Wow. So
the garments are there. And when I tell people everywhere I go, they say, "Well, that's in heaven. How do I access it?" I just told you. Use your imagination. Imagine the most beautiful garment that you can think about, a robe. Take it and put it on and say, "Jesus, I want your garment. I
Jesus,
want your garment." What you believe, it is so for you. If you can conceive it, you can receive it. It is so for you. It is
so
so for you.
y'all, Miss Sheila, what I want right now is for you to come back because there are more rooms in heaven we got to talk about. I want to talk about your gifts with your eyes. I want to talk about when you went back the next time. I want to talk about the traveling that you do, the missionary work that you do. So, will you come back? I'm asking you on air.
Yeah, of course I'll come back.
There we go.
Of
So
course I'll
listen,
come back.
this is what I because they're asking for a part two. People in the
Oh,
chat room. So this is what I want y'all to do right now. I want you, everybody, close your eyes,
hmm.
and I want you to see your garment, whatever your favorite color is. It might even be a color you've never seen before because on the other side, there are colors we've never seen, but it's beautiful and it's thick and it's heavy, and it can be a garment of peace. It can be a garment
Hmm.
of praise. It can be a
A
garment
garment of
of
joy.
tranquility, of joy. Tell me, Miss Sheila,
Yes.
a garment of ease. Any
Yeah.
other thing,
A garment of
whatever it is,
ease.
whatever your
A
soul
garment,
needs,
garment of hope.
garment of hope. Put your garment on. Put
Garment
it
of a
on.
second chance. No matter what's going on.
Of a second chance. Mm.
Yes, there is a
Put
second
your
chance. There is a second
put.
chance.
There's a
That
second
garment
chance.
was designed for every person to put on, and whatever was ailing that person, whatever soul sickness, heartache for that person, it was made whole.
Mm. Garment of forgiveness.
It was made whole. It was made
Whatever
whole.
you need,
It was
be
made whole.
made
Yeah.
whole. See it. See
Self-accept
whatever it is. Go ahead, Miss Sheila.
garment of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. Garment of self-acceptance. Garment of love you.
Mm.
Love you. The garment to love you. To love you. You may feel like you're not lovable. Love you. That garment will help you love you because it's God's garment for you because He loves you. You're loved. He didn't send me back. 19 was my time. I am now 68 come December 25th. 51 years as of December 1st, Monday, I've been serving Him and telling these stories for 51 years.
Mm. Mm.
Because He still wants somebody to tell the truth. Tell them what you saw. Tell them what I've said. Tell them that I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm not weak. I'm not blind. I do see you. I do hear you. I do care. I do care. You're not alone. You're not abandoned. It's not based on what you see or what you know. It's based on what God says. You don't even have to. I didn't know the God that I'm talking about now.
Wow.
He talks to me in the wall. I didn't know nothing. He don't need an introduction. He knows how to introduce himself to you. He knows how to make himself known to you. He knows how to speak your language. He knows how to speak your quietness. He knows how to speak your rage. He's not upset if you're upset with him. He doesn't care about that. Don't move him. He loves you. 2026 is a new year of hope. It's a new year of hope. You can believe that now. You don't have to wait till 2026 to make a New Year's resolution. Make it today. And if you've tuned in for some reason, and if God had me to be on this broadcast this day, after 51 years of my anniversary, trust me, it's not a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is a coincidence. Heaven belongs to you. Heaven is yours. But you don't have to die to go to heaven. You can have heaven here now. Heaven is here now.
Y'all got that? I'll let you know when she's coming back, because we well over time. But I'm so thankful. I got my cloak on. I know it's got a snap, but I'm holding it together. Thank you, Miss Sheila, for doing what he told you to do. And thank you for telling me you'll come back. We'll figure out a date. I love all of you. Her website is below, PROMISA Ministries International.com. I'll put it in the chat. I tell you what, we got so much more to talk about, but we will next time. Thank you all for tuning in. Keep your cloak on all night tonight. All night, and sleep well. Let's see. I think I got it. Oh, thank you all. Thank you all so much. And listen, before I close, I just want to say I'm putting this in the chat too. Look at there, y'all. Look at there. If Heaven High Podcast has added any joy, peace, or light to your day, please consider making an exchange our way, because your support keeps us going and helps us do what we do. God is so good, and every blessing you put out comes back to you. So I put Cash App and my Venmo and my Zelle. Everything is Tangi Ambrose. I love y'all. God bless. See you next week. Hold your cloaks. Thank you, Miss Sheila. Heaven high.
Heaven high.